And welcome to Arts Talk. I am Bill Roberts. We're here at the Common Ground Community Cafe in Sherwood Park with a live audience. Can you believe it? It's exciting to be out here and have an audience. This is, I think, our 6th show we've done in front of an audience. So we've been doing this show for 6 years now, so it's nice to always have the live audience and have the feedback. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time up here talking because this edition of Arts Talk is exciting. We, over the past 3 months, since January, have been auditioning for my new co-host. So the auditions were back in January, and if you watched the show in February, you saw our 4 co-host finalists were on that show. They each had to bring a guest on. They each had to do an interview. They did some events. Then they had a little chat with all 4 of them together. Well, tonight's the night we get to make the big announcement of who my new co-host is. That'll be exciting. Extra exciting for me because the Arts Talk team that's here, my producers, we actually know who won, but I can't tell anybody. We have to wait till the end of the show. We're going to kind of just work our way through and make it like a reality show and build that tension and drama to who actually is the new co-host for Arts Talk. So, again, have fun everybody tonight. We've got some great guests. Each of the co-host finalists, as mentioned, is here. They each have brought a guest that we'll be doing an interview with, but before we bring up the guests, I'm going to go to a quick break, and we're going to have our 4 co-host finalists come up and do a quick introduction. So we'll be right back after this. We're back. Look who I have up here. This is our 4 co-host finalists that made it through the whole audition process. We had 30 plus auditions originally back in January, so these are our final 4. So we've got Marissa on the end, we have Heidi, we've got Cliff, and we have Terri. So what I want you guys to do, and you did this a little bit on the show in February, but there might be people here who didn't get a chance to see that show. So here's your opportunity to, again, introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself. What has this whole process been like for you, trying to become the new co-host?
Well, I guess I'll start since I have a mic.
There you go.
Everyone's looking at Marissa. I would say I learned really quickly, as I think all of us did, that self-promotion is hard.
It's very difficult.
I just laughed the entire time. It's been an experience. It's quite different than acting, for sure.
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
I think it's been great because I got to meet other people that I didn't know and have become a little bit closer, and now we're Facebook friends, and so I think it's been a really great opportunity to just get outside and meet new people and see what people are passionate about here in Edmonton.
So how's the nerves tonight? You good? You're not excited? They both went. They just both stared at the camera.
Are you nervous?
Are you nervous, Heidi?
I wasn't at all before coming here, and then I was sitting down, and I'm like, this is happening. So I don't know, I don't know.
She doesn't know.
I don't know if that's any indication.
Cliff?
Sure. You're going to hold it for me, too. He's being nice, just in case I had some adrenaline or nerves. Thank you. That's helping. Thank you. Not distracting while I try and think about what to say. No, same thing. It's just been a really enjoyable experience. And I think that, sometimes Edmonton just doesn't get the reputation it deserves for the great arts community we have. And even for me, I've learned so much more about what's available in our community. So I think that's been fantastic.
That's awesome. Thanks, Terri. You nervous tonight?
Yeah, I'm not holding my own microphone, so I would say yes.
Terry's
Yes.
the only one that I saw coming with cheat notes tonight.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
No notes here.
And then she's going to lend me her boots up.
Yeah, yes. I don't know where that went. Just like, all right.
You agreed to it.
You noticed we tried to keep height somewhat, close as we could because I'm not a tall guy. So.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Terri. Cliff.
It's definitely been a fun experience. More fun than I'd probably anticipated.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And last time we shot, I was kind of nervous. I always get sort of nervous in close proximities to cameras and whatnot. But live is good. Live is interesting. And, hopefully that as going forward, we'll be talking with a lot of people live. That'd be nice to have live people on the show.
So, rather than dead, it doesn't work as well when we're dead. Yeah. I figured that out.
Is that a requirement?
I'm just saying.
You got to make sure you have a heartbeat. That was one of the requirements.
Exactly. That's right.
So quickly, we'll go around the line and tell us a little bit about your guest that's coming on the show tonight?
Oh, I'm really excited. I have Daphne Cote. She's an illustrator, but also she is an instructor. She teaches people how to draw and how to see outside of themselves. So I'm really excited.
Nice.
I have Selena Furnell today, and she is a photographer in Edmonton,
Cool.
and even took some of my own wedding photos. So I'm a little biased,
wow.
but she's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah.
And my guest is Kenna Loewen. Yeah, I did bend down.
Just got to get down there a little bit, Terri.
Yeah, my guest is Kenna Loewen, and she is a local based in Edmonton composer and music producer.
Wow.
So it should be phenomenal to hear what she's up to right now.
Awesome. And Cliff.
Nice. Well, I have here a young lady, Alberta talent through and through. She's a singer, she's an actress, she's a director.
Wow.
Both stage, film, acting and everything, singing and everything. And she's only 19 years old. And
Wow.
so she has an amazing future ahead of her, and I'm really looking forward to interviewing her.
What's her
name?
Is... That's the reveal! That's the reveal! Ladies and gentlemen, it's Maya Molly!
Awesome. Well, it sounds like we've got great guests coming up. So I think we're going to get on with having your guests come up. So Heidi, after the break, let's bring your guest up.
Exciting.
We'll be right back after this.
Hi, I'm Heidi Ellen, and this is Arts Talk. Today we have Selena Furnell. She has her own photography business, C. Furnell Photography. Is that right?
Yeah,
Oh, you have your own mic.
We prepared. We're prepared on this show.
we all get one this time.
That's pretty exciting. And so is your photography.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
So how did...
I was just going to say, what kind of photography do you
Yeah.
do, Selena?
I do portraits mostly, weddings for the most part for the summer, when everyone gets married. And then the rest of the year I try to do headshots every now and again, and maternity mostly is what
Nice.
Yeah.
So listen up, actors. Get a hold of Selena for your headshots.
So is it my understanding you shot Terry's wedding?
Heidi's
Hi.
Oh, Heidi's wedding.
This is a
You know
thing.
what?
We talked about
We
this.
talked about this
We
before.
did.
When we shot in February, we had the same issue happen. And if I remember correctly, it was Cliff, who's hiding back here somewhere,
Probably hiding behind
switched
his
them
hand.
up.
Like, you can't
So
see
now
me.
I've got this in my head, Cliff, that,
Heidi.
That's Heidi. That's Heidi. That's Heidi. So anyway, you shot Heidi's wedding.
Yeah.
So how was that experience?
Oh, it was great. She's really easy to photograph. I photograph her all the time. Not all
true.
the time, but every time I have an idea, I'm like, Heidi, we need to go take pictures right now. I have this great idea. And it always works out because
Nice.
she's got a lot of experience with it.
Well, thank you. So how did you, Selena, get into photography? What was the starting point for you?
I don't even know what started it. It was just picked up a camera in high school and just kind of stuck with it, and then just started meeting more people that were like, oh, I need you to take my picture, need you to take my picture. And I was like, okay, maybe I should try to make money off of this because everyone wants me to take their picture.
Yeah, don't do it for free anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Some things I do for free,
Okay.
but not a lot of things.
You have to be really good friends with
Yeah.
her.
Some things she does for free. Okay. So now you've run this as your own business, and how many years you've been doing this?
I probably started like 4 years ago.
Okay. Do you have any pointers for anybody who's a budding photographer who maybe wants to get out and start this as a business?
Don't do it. It's really hard.
Well, that's great for all you photographers and all our viewers that want to be photographers. You just heard it here on Arts Talk.
Don't follow your dreams. Wrong show.
No, follow your dreams. It's just that running a business is really hard and a lot
it's
of
not
work.
easy.
And I mean, it's the same with any sort of business, like running a cafe or being a massage therapist or like doing literally any company that you have to run yourself. It's all the same amount of work.
Why do I visualize all the photographers that are viewers putting their cameras away right now?
More work for me then, I guess, right?
So then what would you say your favorite part of being a photographer is in Edmonton?
Probably meeting people. Since having a baby, I don't really get out a lot. So when people inquire for photos, it's a great chance to get out and meet people that are kind of into the same things as I am. Because I've got all this like huge about me page on my website, and people will click through it and be like, oh yeah, that's awesome. I love Dr. Pepper too. Like, I totally want you to take my pictures now. So,
Okay, so then that is a good segue to what is your website?
it is cfornowphotography.com.
Okay.
And I have one quick question before we have to wrap up the interview. Have you ever had, what's your worst photography experience been?
no.
If you've had somebody who's in front of the camera and maybe it's just not working, like, you must have a funny story.
I honestly don't have
Or has
any
everybody
horror
been great?
stories.
They've all been great.
Everyone's been great. Like, it's easy to make people really comfortable in front of the camera when you could just make them laugh at your terrible jokes.
Do you have a terrible joke to tell us then?
They usually just happen spur of the moment.
Oh, okay. You just improv it as you go.
Yeah, yeah. Think
nice.
like the worst dad joke and just worse than that.
Okay. I'm learning a lot about photography here tonight, which is a good thing.
Well, Selena, we want to thank you so much for coming on Arts Talk today and putting up with me as both a model and a photographer. Of
course.
Does that make sense? I don't know if I just flubbed my words, but you know what I mean, right? So thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks
Thank you
so much.
for having me.
Thanks so much, Selena. We'll be right back after this.
All right, so here we are with Kenna Loewen, who is a music composer and producer and just a general artist all around, I would say, local to Edmonton. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your music? I could try and explain the sound, but I feel like it's pretty unique and you might do a better job at that.
So primarily I'm really into soundscapes. So when I produce music, I'm very sensitive to what kind of soundscape I'm trying to create. So more ambient tracks, mostly instrumentals. I do compose songs with vocals also, but yeah, primarily ambient tracks. So.
And something I noticed that I thought was really interesting is that your most recent tracks, you've released 2 meditation tracks. And I know for
wow.
me, I find meditation and just binaural beats and music extremely healing. So what sort of led you that way?
Well, I was one day I was creating a track that started with a piano, and I use it for my own healing. So the idea came up. It's like, well, why not share that experience with everyone else? You know, like if I'm gonna create a track for my own healing, then why not share it? And that's kind of where it started, really. Yeah.
So Katrina, how did you get started? Now, way back, you and I were working on a film, actually in Terri as well.
That's right,
And
that's
you were our
right.
sound person on the film.
Yes.
So how did you start moving in this direction?
You know, it was really funny because I've evolved from the shortest boom operator to now finally like in a studio where I fit.
Nice.
So, you know, coming from film, it was essentially, you know, the passion for capturing sounds, which is what drew me to it.
Mm-hmm.
And when I noticed that, you know, when I was creating soundscapes for film, it didn't come naturally at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I transitioned more into just kind of music because I was better at emoting,
Right.
better at kind of relaying a message, and yeah, that's really it.
Using your own thought process,
That's
maybe,
correct.
than following something sort of strictly to a letter.
That's right.
Yeah, having
That's-
that freedom to create.
That's
I can
right.
see that.
Yeah.
Especially because something else you're involved in, which is Awake, if you don't mind talking about that a little
Not at
bit,
all.
I think it's really interesting. And I don't know if a lot of people are aware of it, so.
So
No,
yeah,
tell us.
Awake is a monthly morning dance party that happens here in Edmonton, and I'm one of the DJs that actually go in rotation for this event. And the vision for Awake is essentially to create a space that is very inclusive. So we have young adults, families that go into the space. And yeah, just to create community and just to dance, because you know some people don't need to worry about, you know, maybe non-sober people or just like bad vibes. They just want to come into a space and just dance, and that's kind of what we create at
I
Awake.
love that. A spot to sort of just let loose and
That's right.
enjoy yourself.
Have you
That's
tried that yet, Terri?
No, but I was asking her about it because I want to take my kids because
Mm-hmm.
it said kid friendly, but I didn't want to be that person that shows up with the kids.
And nobody else had kids? Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. But something I wanted to ask you when I was listening to the last interview is, do you have like a DJing or music related horror story you'd like to share with us?
Yes, I do.
Oh, good.
I definitely do. So it was actually when I was really involved in weddings. So when I DJ'd for this one wedding, you know, I had all my set list ready to go, and it was a cue for the first dance, and my laptop just kind of died, and I'm just like, oh no. And I just looked at the bride and the groom, and I'm like, so thank you for iTunes, because it was just like, find that song, plug it in, and
And it worked.
And
out.
away it went.
away it went. But I was sweating, like just. Whew.
That's a pretty big moment to not
It
want to
is.
botch it on somebody. So that's
Yeah.
fair. A little pressure there.
Yeah, it's kind of like me, calling Heidi Terri and Terri Heidi.
Yeah, that was.
That's
I didn't want to
right.
bring that up, but
That
that
was-
was
yeah.
a faux pas, Bill. That was
Yes. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's done now. I've got it out of my system.
fair.
Oh, great.
But where
Hopefully.
can people find you if they're looking for your meditation tracks or your music, or where can they find you?
So if you just go to my website, kennaleon.com.
Perfect. And we can maybe find a way to float that up somehow magically. I don't
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well,
That's
thanks
awesome.
so much, Katrina.
You're very welcome. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this.
Good evening, and we're back. My name is Cliff, and this is Arts Talk, and today I have a very exciting guest for you. This is Maya Molly. Maya Molly is an Alberta homegrown artist. She does pretty much everything. She acts, she sings, she does stage acting and film acting, and she sings and she directs, which is pretty impressive for a girl of her age. And
Triple threat.
It's a little bit of a threat.
I model
triple
too.
threat. And I was just going
Quadruple
to say,
threat.
and on top of that, all the photographers in the house, please take note, including myself. She is also a model, and you can find her on Instagram. That's the place to look. So now, Maya, thank you for being here. I really appreciate that very much.
Thank you for having me.
And why don't we start out, and maybe you can tell us about specifically the balance play to start with, because obviously that's something coming up and very exciting.
Yeah, it's coming up on May 4th and May 5th. Tickets are $23. Little plug for you there. So basically, my mom is very involved in the industry as well. She directs and writes her own stuff, so that's pretty cool.
Right.
And she wanted me to be involved in it as well, so that was fun, and we're doing that.
So this play is it's called The Balance, and it is written by her mom. Again, all Alberta talent, and it's being put on what venue?
At the Art Barns
Art
on White
Barns.
Ave-ish.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and that's coming up, and it's also actually going to be a movie sometime in the future as well.
Yeah.
Right.
That's in discussion.
And so you will be acting in that as well.
Yeah. So that's gonna be fun. My mom likes to put me in all of her stuff. I wonder
Nice.
why. I don't know.
Just because she's brilliant. It has really nothing to do with anything else.
yeah.
So what got you into acting?
Sorry.
What got you into acting?
Ever since I was 3,
Wow.
I was just like, my grandma was like, "What do you want to be?" I was like, "That." And she's like, "Shakira?" I was like, "No, I want to be in that." So I was like, I always wanted to be a film actress, and it never really strayed for me. I was like, that's what I always wanted to do.
Nice.
And then I think when I was like 13, my mom started getting me into modeling, and then she started me in theater, and then I went into film, and I've just been going in between everything and doing everything. And
Awesome.
Nice. So very quickly, you do a lot of auditions, right? And you just recently did a couple of auditions, and you think you possibly will get one of them. I'm not surprised. But I thought I'd put you on the spot here because I asked her earlier, and she said she had a really good process for auditions.
Preparing for an audition.
Preparing for
or-
audition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Maya, what is your process for auditioning?
Well, I think like the number one thing to remember in an audition is that like you are good enough, right? And like if they don't cast you, then like whatever, like you're just not what they're looking for, and it's nothing against you as a person, right?
Nice.
So I always gotta like hype myself up, right? Like I gotta get confident. So I go into the mirror and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're awesome." I'm like, "Oh, you're amazing," right? So you're just basically just being really self-centered at one point in time.
Now, what if there's no mirror?
And then that's why we got cell phones with front cameras. And you're just like, wow, turn on those filters. You're like, wow. Filter comes off. You're like, whoa. Yeah.
So you mentioned you've got Balance coming up. Anything else coming up?
So yes, as you mentioned, I did a Nate short film, and director was dropping little hints that I pretty much got the role. So I was So I'm pretty excited about that. And we start filming at 3 in the morning.
Oh, good. That's a good time to start shooting.
Yeah, until 10 in the morning, and then I get to sleep the rest of the day. That's a great feeling.
That sounds like Cliff is just over here laughing because he knows you'll be up at 3 a.m. in the morning while he's sleeping.
Yeah, pretty much. I love sleep. I will sleep anytime.
Really a young person, teenager, almost liking sleep. So Maya, can you touch a little bit about on the singing? I know you recently won an award as well.
In 2015, I was working with Richard Margeson. He's an opera singer, and I won a scholarship for vocal achievement and potential. So that was fun.
Nice.
I loved that. Yeah, I've done charity events, just singing, really fun stuff. And I know at my church we have like worship leaders and stuff, so probably gonna end up doing that too, so that's gonna be fun. And yeah, we got a lot of big things coming up for me.
So just quickly, Maya, for somebody your age, do you have any advice for them that wants to do like what you're doing right now?
Yeah, just like, I don't know. I think the hardest thing for me to learn is that like you really need to like be confident in yourself and accept rejection. That is the biggest thing.
Big thing in this business.
Yeah, exactly, for this thing. And like maybe you might not have the look for this role, but that's just one role.
That's right.
And that's like, and that audition is like this little thing in your life. And like when you grow up, you're gonna be like, oh, I don't even remember that audition. Like, it's like you just need to accept it and then move on. And then maybe you're gonna find something that's perfect for you
sure.
and all that stuff, right? And also just like be confident in yourself, even though that's really hard, especially for girls, right? Like nowadays, right? That's really hard. But I think that's the biggest thing, so that you can excel.
Awesome advice.
Excellent
Yep,
advice.
You bet. Thanks so much for being on the
Thank
show.
you for
Maya,
having
thank you
me.
so much.
Thank
It was
you.
so nice of you
Thank
to come.
you.
We'll be right back.
And we're back with Daphne Cote, professional artist. Hi, Daphne. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. So why don't you tell us a bit about what you do as a professional artist?
So I'm a figurative artist. I work primarily in oil paint, but I do acrylic, gouache, watercolor, and then a lot of drawing as well in charcoal, Conte pencils. And I do lots of portraits and full figure work, so the whole person. And I do commissions, I do public artworks, and I do different things like murals and instructing. Yeah.
So how do you use your art in the public space? Like what are some other, you not just do art, you use it for purposes in the world.
Yeah, so I try to capture people's emotions and personality and try to convey that. So sometimes when I'm doing commissions, it's to commemorate a person, to celebrate their birthday, an anniversary, or some sort of momentous event in their life. And then I also do things like public artworks where it's, I finished a 16 feet by 4 feet mural for the town of Stony Plain, and I did it as a collaborative art piece with the youth center there.
So how long does something that big take to do, actually?
Quite a few months, on and off, mostly because you start to go a bit blind after staring at something like that for
I'm
too
sure.
long. So I like to give every painting about at least 3 months, just so that I also have time to think about it as well.
And I grabbed one of these pieces. Do you want to tell us about the project that you do?
So I started a artist-initiated, self-initiated artist residency at the Westview Health Center. It's a hospital in Stony Plain where I go in and work with the continuing care patients and some palliative care patients, providing them with art therapy while at the same time doing portraits of the residents there.
Oh, nice.
And the art therapy is open not just to the patients, but also to the staff, family members, volunteers, so they can come in and dabble on a little bit of art. So every Wednesday I'm there from 10 till 2 working on this project.
And why is this important that you do this?
Well, it started off by the Family and Community Support Services in Stony Plain hired me to go in and teach a 1.5 hour art class. And I found that there were a lot of issues with that, where people couldn't come because they had doctor's appointments, or they couldn't paint for a whole hour and a half. So I wanted to cater the project more towards their needs. And also I really loved the environment, and I felt that it was a great way to connect to people. And I saw how art was bringing out different things in people and in their relationships between the staff, the family members, and the residents themselves. So they were no longer talking just about their physical abilities, or how did you eat today? Did you go to your doctor's appointment today? It was more about, oh, is that your favorite color? Oh, what does that remind you of? And talking about life experiences and connections in that way. So I thought that it was a very valuable
That's awesome.
thing.
Yeah, and what was it like capturing this artist?
Oh, so this guy's name is Brad, and he's a quadriplegic. He was in an accident, and so he has only the use of his neck and up. So we had him set up with an easel, and he uses a paintbrush with his mouth to paint. And he used to, before his accident, dabble in drawing in a sketchbook to help stress relief, and he no longer had that. So I was really fortunate to be able to go in and help him do that, and yeah, help him be able to be creative again.
It's great. I mean, I can see there's a lot of
Fantastic,
story
yeah.
happening in this painting
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah. Well, everybody can paint. So you could paint with your toes, you could paint with your mouth. It's mostly the drive and the willingness to do it.
And you teach people how to paint.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I instruct a lot of classes, and I teach people really how to see. So I teach drawing and I teach painting. I teach a lot of figurative stuff because I have I'm a bit of a nerd, and I know a lot of anatomy and how to make people look just like their characteristics and bring out their personality.
Well, that's amazing. So how can they get a hold of you if they want to have a commission or learn more about what you're teaching in the world?
So I can be... my work is also at the Art Gallery of Alberta,
Right.
so you
Nice.
can see some of my stuff there, or rent some of my work out there.
Fantastic.
And you can find me on daphnecote.com. And if you want to look at the progress of my work, though, or what I'm working on today, or where I am that day, you can follow me on Instagram, Daphne Cote Artist, and on Facebook with the same Daphne Cote Artist.
Wow,
Oh,
that's great.
Thanks so much, Daphne.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
That was wonderful.
Thanks
We'll be right
for
back. And we're back. Wow, it's been a fun show so far. What do you think, live audience here at Common Ground? Our co-host finalists are doing a fantastic job. Some great interviews, great guests. One of the things that we normally do on the show, and we're not doing it tonight, but I'm going to kind of do it a little bit, is we have an events section. So we talk about upcoming events in Edmonton, surrounding area, things that are coming up, whether it be stage, music, whatever the case might be. And that is a partnership that we have with Bottom Line Productions, a marketing company here in the city. So I'm just going to talk really quickly about an event that is coming up on March 24th. And it's a fundraiser for an original show called Nightmare, which will be at the 2018 Fringe Festival this year. And it's being held at the Fife and Deckel in the West End, and if you want to come out and have a great dinner, it's going to run from 6 till 9 p.m. You can buy your food. All proceeds of the food sales that evening will go toward the show. So the show is a completely original show being built from the ground up. One of the reasons I'm talking about it is because I'm producing and directing it, and Cliff Smith back in the room is actually in the show. So it's a show that's going to be told through dance, music, and special effects, technology, lighting, and the whole bit. So it's going to be quite unique to the Fringe Festival this year. So we're excited. But when you put on a Fringe show, it always requires funding. So that's why we do fundraisers. So March 24th, Fife and Deckel in the West End, 6 to 9 p.m. Come on out, buy a sandwich. It might be a little snippet from the show, so you're going to want to be there for that. We can't talk a whole lot about the show because of the way that it's designed. It's a bit of a mystery, so you need to come see the show to see what's going to happen. But you want to come out to that fundraiser. The other thing, April, Fife and Deckel, the whole month of April at all locations, will be giving $1 to our show for every 6-pack of cow pies that you buy. So I don't know what a cow pie is at Fife and Deco, but apparently we buy a 6-pack for $10 and we get $1. So you might want to check that out and find out what a cow pie is when you go to Fife and Deco the whole month of April. Anyway, I'm going to be right back after this. I'm going to have the 4 finalists back up here. We're going to have a quick little chat with them again, and we're getting closer and closer to making that big announcement who is going to be the new Arts Talk co-host. We'll be right back after this. We're back. Let's hear it for our co-host finalists again. And I had to, we were just chatting about names because I messed up Heidi and Terri at the beginning of the show, and Cliff did that back in February. So of course we have Marissa, Heidi, I'm Bill, Cliff, and Terri. So I've got it right this time.
Yay! How come no one mixes up you and I, Cliff?
I don't know.
I don't know. I think it's Cliff's hair.
It's got to be the hair.
That throws us off. So here's an opportunity before we get to announcing who the winner is. If you've got any last little thing you'd like to say to our live audience and to our viewers.
Well, I want to thank you, Bill, for bringing us here because it's such an amazing opportunity, and thank you to the crew who do such a phenomenal job putting this together every month.
Yes,
so,
thank you.
I mean,
for
thank
sure.
you very much for doing this for the arts community and for artists in Edmonton. So it's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you, Marissa. That's good.
That's good. I like that.
I kind Nothing else, Terri?
No, what she said was perfect. Yeah.
Awesome.
That was good.
That's what she said.
Thanks, Cliff. And that's all you've got to say?
I would like to echo what Marissa said. I really appreciate being a part of this, Bill. And regardless of the outcome, I think you're doing a show that really is valuable in the Edmonton market. And I think there are a lot of artists that go unnoticed because I don't think a lot of people pay enough attention to them that they need. And so I really think this is something that Edmonton needs, and I'm very pleased to have been even a small part of it.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Cliff. And I'm really pleased that you 4 have been up here. You guys have done an awesome job, and it has made the decision really tough. So for those of you that are probably out here, you probably voted. You know that we had 2 polls. So we had a poll prior to the February show, and then after the show ran, we ran a second poll. And wow, I was amazed at absolutely how many votes that you got. In the second poll, people were not able to see the votes, but we were as an Arts Talk team, and it's amazing how many votes. There was over 2,000 votes came through. So I kept watching the numbers go up, and I was sending notes to these guys and saying the numbers are going up and up and up. Like, it was amazing. So that's been fantastic. These guys have all been great, and I can tell you for the producers and the team, watching the votes go up and even choosing these guys, I think was great to have them as our co-host finalists. So on that note, I'm going to get ready to name who the winner is, but we got to go to break, so we'll be right back after this.
Oh, Bill.
All right, we're back. Well, one more hand for our co-host finalists. Let's hear it for them again before I make this big announcement. All right, so here we go. So as mentioned, there were over 2,000 votes that came through in total through the voting polls, which is absolutely amazing. Overwhelmed us as an Arts Talk team. So I have to tell you something. Back when we did the show in February with all 4 co-hosts, which was great, we got to see them all. They're all sitting up here because I'm talking away. Come on, get to it. I know, I'm getting to it. We did some segments. We did the interview segments with them, but we ended off with a segment where we had the 4 of them together, bantering and having fun, which was great. It was an awesome segment. So another thing that I have to say is after that, and the way the voting and everything was going, we had some conversations back and forth with our producers and that kind of thing. And so finally, we came to this decision, kind of based on the votes, but we've decided that there will not be one co-host. All 4 of you are joining the show. So we're changing the show to a panel discussion. So welcome to Arts Talk, all 4 of you, Cliff, Heidi, Terri, and Marissa. So starting in April, we'll be doing it as a panel show. So we'll have, so similar to some of the shows you see, The View, those types of things. We'll have a panel, still have guests on the show, but I think it's going to help grow the show so much, and all four of them are so great. Even though the voting was close, we couldn't let them all go. We wanted them all on the show, so we all chatted and said this is the way it has to be and what the decision has to be. So again, welcome to Arts Talk. So starting next month, we'll have a brand new team of 5 of us on the show.
Thank you.
The other big thing that we've added is out of our 30 plus auditions, we've added 5 street reporters. So they will be going out and covering a lot of events. If we can't get to events to cover, they will be handling that for us. So the show is going to grow hugely over the next year for 2018. So I'm really excited, having done the show for 6 years, to have such talented people up here with me that have so many arts connections and that kind of thing. Wow, it's going to go from here to here. We're really, really excited, and so is the team. Everybody's looking forward to it. So in April, watch the new format of Arts Talk. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out to the Common Ground Community Cafe. Thank you to the volunteers and Tammy that have been behind the counter serving coffee and snacks to everybody. It's been wonderful. Come say hi to the co-hosts now that the show is wrapping. Make sure you watch this. It'll be airing the next few days. Will be uploaded ballpark, and tell all your friends to watch. Tell all your friends to follow Arts Talk, our Facebook page. Make sure if you've got a guest, you want to be on the show, email us at artstalkedmonton@gmail.com. Make sure that you email us. We all want you to be part, and we want the whole arts community of Edmonton, surrounding area, and beyond, because we're going to start doing Skype interviews as well, to see this show. We want to promote arts. Artists that don't get an opportunity to be promoted, this is our chance. We want to promote arts in the community. Thank you so much, everybody. There's another edition of Arts Talk. We'll see you next month.